Good morning, Shabbat Shalom. It's really good to be here with all of you, and we're thankful for being able to gather under the word of the Lord. Yeshua is the word. So this is the seventh Torah portion of the year. Remember how it goes back to Genesis. And so last week, in the Torah portion, it talked about the birth of Esau and Jacob, and how Esau sold his birthright, remember that, for the stew, and then and how Isaac, who is blind and he's getting so old and he's going to give the blessing, and how Jacob puts the skins on and makes himself like Isaac or like Esau and deceives his father into giving him the birthright. So this portion is called Vayetza, which means, and he went out. And the title comes from the first verse of this reading, which says, and Jacob went out from Beersheba. So we can turn to Genesis 28. This is quite a long portion, from all the way from chapter 28 to 32. But I'm just going to read the start here from verse 10. Jacob left Beersheba and set out for Haran. When he reached a certain place, he stopped for the night because the sun had set. Taking one of the stones there, he put it under his head and lay down to sleep. He had a dream in which he saw a stairway resting on the earth with its top reaching to the heaven. And the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. There above it stood the Lord, and he said, I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham, and the God of Isaac. I will give you and your descendants the land on which you are lying. Your descendants will be like the dust of the earth. And you will spread out to the west and to the east, to the north and to the south. All peoples on earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. I am with you, and I will watch over you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. Now let's turn to the Haftorah, which is Hosea, chapter 12, and goes to chapter 14. I'm going to just read certain sections out of it. So starting at verse 12:12. And this refers to this time in Jacob's life where in this Torah portion, he flees from, he fled from Esau. And that's when this incredible moment took place where he had this vision. So it says, Jacob fled into the land of Aram. There Israel served for a wife. And for a wife he guarded sheep. By a prophet, the Lord brought Israel up from Egypt. And by a prophet he was guarded. So that's referring to Moses. So the first verse there talks about some of the things that happen in this portion in Genesis. Jacob marries the two daughters of Laban, right? And so he loved Rachel more, and then he had the 12 sons through Rachel and Leah and their the two other ladies. I forget what they call them. They're not concubines. They're something else, right? Maids, something like that. So let's keep reading verse 13 and 11. So this is still going through the history. I gave you a king in my anger. That's Saul, how they wanted a king, right? Instead of just having the Lord as their king. And I took him away in my wrath. The iniquity of Ephraim is bound up. His sin is kept in store. The pangs of childbirth come for him, but he is an unwise son. For at the right time he does not present himself at the opening of the womb. I shall ransom them from the power of Sheol. I shall redeem them from death. O death, where are your plagues? O Sheol, where is your sting? And down to 14, verse 4. I will heal their apostasy. I will love them freely, for my anger has turned from them. I will be like the dew to Israel. He shall blossom like the lily. He shall take root like the trees of Lebanon. His shoots shall spread out. His beauty shall be like the olive, and his fragrance like Lebanon. They shall return and dwell beneath my shadow. So let's turn to the New Covenant, the Brit Hadashah, Gospel of John, chapter 1. Verse 41. The first thing Andrew did was to find his brother Simon and tell him, "We have found the Messiah, that is the Christ." And he brought him to Jesus. Jesus looked at him and said, "You are Simon, son of John. You will be called Cephas," which when translated is Peter. The next day, Jesus decided to leave for Galilee. Finding Philip, he said to him, "Follow me." Philip, like Andrew and Peter, was from the town of Bethsaida. Philip found Nathanael and told him, "We have found the one Moses wrote about in the law, and about whom the prophets also wrote, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph." "Nazareth? Can anything good come from there?" Nathanael asked. "Come and see," said Philip. When Jesus saw Nathanael approaching, he said of him, "Here is a true Israelite in whom there is nothing false." "How do you know me?" Nathanael asked. Jesus answered, "I saw you while you were still under the fig tree before Philip called you." Then Nathanael declared, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel." Jesus said, "You believe because I told you I saw you under the fig tree. You shall see greater things than this." He then added, "I tell you the truth. You shall see heaven open and the angels of God ascending and descending upon the Son of Man." So we go back to that original image from Jacob's vision, where there's the ladder to heaven with the angels ascending and descending. And the Messiah, Yeshua, he's saying, and it is true, because he is the fulfillment of so many of these types and shadows in the Old Testament. He is the ladder on which the angels descend and ascend that bridges the earthly realm with the heavenly realm, brings us back into relationship with our Father in heaven.